just the indicator most recently, you should be able to obtain the updates by hitting that link. However, if you don't see the updates presently available, which most of this should be in the suite prior to the updates. However, there's a couple additional volume tools as well as a couple other indicators I included in there. If you don't have those, if you don't have the volume indicators, uh, look at the last past couple videos. You'll know what I mean. I'm not going to show them here, but if you don't have those, yes, you're going to have to incur an additional cost. But for the most part, everything you're seeing here should already be in your suite. If you already purchased the suite, even some time ago, all of this information should be there. All right. So needless to say, let's get into this information here. Thank you guys for, again, watching the videos. It's really important that you take this information in. I'm trying to give away a ton of information, all right, a ton of information to traders that need help. All right, so the channel do not offer any kind of prop firm links. No enticing intros, face blaster, new strategies, hindsight analysis, regurgitated information from other traders. I don't do that because hindsight will never stop us out. Want you to keep that in mind. I got a lot of videos here for you. So if you're new, I got tons of videos, important stuff too. You'll want to go in here and just take a peek. This is a favorite. I've seen that the views on here have came up quite a bit. So if you want to go back and look at that, you're more than welcome to do so. Universal threshold. This is how far the live candle will pull back before resuming. The price action trend, you just need to be able to count to 10. And then, of course, here, the price action method, we use the majority principle, which states that the minority is compelled to follow. And then this chart scale, this is really important. Definitely, if you're a scalper, I want you to pay attention to this video because I'm going to show you on your hard right edge, your bezel. You do not have to look left if you want to know when the market is going to turn. Unless you're going to blink for a very long time, you're going to see the market turn right in front of you. So this is really paramount when you're a scalper. I'm going to make sure I show you that. If you are in the market with it for additional information, I do provide that as well. I got like 40 something videos here with a lot of details that's not included in this free stuff. All right. But I must tell you, those 4 components right here can absolutely set a foundation that will change your trading. All right, it will absolutely do that. So let's get into some of this information. All right, so we got the ranges here. All right, so you just want to keep them above the center of the range. That's all. It's really just that simple. I'll scroll through the chart and allow you to see it. All right, so that's yesterday. So they were up here and they kind of came down, got on the backside of that, and just kind of took off to the downside here. And then, of course, the chart scale. Now, I'm not going to scroll through this a whole lot. I just want you to kind of see how it works. That's all. And use your chart scale. Again, this is the chart scale that's provided to you. It frames out the activity. All right. So you're looking inside of a picture, if you will. And although the picture is fluid, it still will happen inside of the frame. So the frame is important. So you're going to want to make sure that you're paying attention to your bezel. Look to that hard right edge to give you your cyclical activity, support and resistance, supply and demand, however you want to go about it. But these range times are really significant. All right, so you're more than welcome to take that information with you. Also, I want to say this to those: this is not for everyone. This is for those that may want to do this. You may not be trading on NinjaTrader 8, and those are the indicators that I code. I don't know how to code for other platforms. Or you may not need additional education. That's fine. But if you are the type of person that would like to contribute to the channel, for the effort of the information that I'm putting out here, okay, this is quality information that you're not going to find anywhere on YouTube, and it should be able to change your trading. You're more than welcome to donate. All right, so I made available below each video a button that you can donate whatever amount you want to. It doesn't matter. But if you would like to contribute to the channel, you're more than welcome to do so. Again, this is my time. I'm sharing my time as well as my understanding with you to ensure that you get a different experience when you come to YouTube and you want to learn. That's what this is all about. All right. So if you would like to, it's totally up to you. There's a link below if you want to contribute. All right. Wish you all the best with your trading either way. All right. Definitely want to say that to you. I'm not trying to get anything from you guys, but I do want to cater to those who may not be in the market for indicators or additional education paid for in that regard. They may not want to go that far. All right. So let's look at this information for the scalpers. We're going to use pretty much everything that I've been covering, but we're going to dial it down to the chart scale. I put the volume in here, so it's going to kind of read that to you while it's moving. All right, it's going to do that as well. They may have found their bottom to go back up here, we're gonna give this a moment and see. If not, yeah, they may come back through here, but hopefully this is their bottom and they're ready to go back up. It's uh it's trying to shape up on this hourly. So let me just kind of pull this in frame as well. Just pull this in here. And I'm gonna talk to you guys about the information that you're looking at, because I know it's a little bit of data here that you're looking at. It's quite a few things going on. We got our volume. All right, so we got our volume here, and again, that's floating with the bar. I paid over 200 bucks for this little arrow that's floating next to the bar. Although I just needed the functionality, I changed what it's referencing. I want to make sure I tell you that this little arrow, just the functionality, cost me 200 bucks. I'm trying to give away this along with let's say 300 more indicators, all for 100 bucks. So I really want the trader to get the best experience. I want to make sure that I say that to you. I know what it is to start in this field and not have any help. All right. And if you ask me, the indicators in the indicator list up here is not help. All right. Definitely if you have no understanding on how to apply them. All right. So try to create a set of tools that can give you just some additional, information that can actually contribute to your decision making. That's all. But you need to know how to trade, and that's what the channel is all about. You got to know how to do it. All right. So while we're talking about how to do it, let me do this really, really quick, because I want to make sure that the scalper still know that this is what we're looking for. So we're looking for a big wick, little wick, or large wick, smaller wick. We're looking for the smaller body, larger body. We want the mid of this candle here to exceed this high. All right. We want the mid of this candle here to exceed that low. All right. So let me lock this, because I don't want this stuff to go anywhere while we're doing this. Let me see if I can lock this as well. Let me see. Can I lock this? I know y'all probably looking up here like, hey, dude, just hit that right there. Okay, I see it. All right, so this is what we want to do. All right, this is what we want to do. We want to make sure, let me draw on the chart a little bit. I want your mid to exceed your high. This is a 5-second chart. We're going to talk about all the little things that's going on the chart here. And then we want the mid to exceed the low. The candle pulls back. You want it to pull into that threshold here and then resume. The candle pulls back. You want it to pull into that threshold and resume. It's just that simple. On this 5-second chart, I want to tell you something that you should really want to look for. And I'll show it to you on the 1 minute as well. But whenever you get the opposing flip, okay, so this is majority. That's what you're spotting. So you get the green candle, but then majority kicks in. Oftentimes you can get a trade in that direction pretty quick. You can. They had it here on the bottom. All right, so I'm gonna show it to you on this 1 minute real quick. I'm gonna show it to you on the 1 minute. It's everywhere. Trust me, it's everywhere. Let me just kind of throw this in draw mode. I don't have my drawing tool here, but I want the scalper to see the capability of using what's already there. And typically you can get a decent trade. All right. They kind of got them on the wrong side here with that short. All right. So they kind of got them on the wrong side. You had one here. This one didn't work out, but then it came back and gave it to you to the upside there. All right. So I don't want to go really far in the chart here, but I just want to show you this will happen a little bit more. That didn't work out. It kind of came right back. Kind of got it on that high. Sometimes it's going to show up right before they're turning the market. I want to make sure I tell you that. All right, so let me just dial this back to here. But here, because of the 5-second chart, it's always flipping. It's always being cyclical. Oftentimes you'll see the little trend. All right, the little trend dot here. Let me slide this back over. You'll see the little trend dot here, right? Oftentimes, once that trend dot comes in, you're going to get some kind of rotation. And this is on a 5-second chart. All right. So if you're trying to pluck the market off, this may help. So you had the trend here, but it pushed and tried to give you that trend distance, and then it flips. Okay. Here's your trend dot to come in here, and it flips. Trying to help the scalper. I just want to give you some information. Now, I did tell you that there's a good chance that this could be the bottom, and they're planning to move this back up. All right. So it's let's see, 137 right now. I'm not going to be up here long. So let's look at our chart scale along with all this additional information here. So on the 5-second chart, I'm going to try to point out what we got here so you can get an idea of what we're dealing with here. Let's go. Let me lock this real quick. All right, so up here we got aggression arrows. All right, now that's these little arrows down here in the bottom. All right, so this is referencing the 5 second, 15 second, 30 second, 45 second. In here we got a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute. Here I believe I got a 5 minute, 15, 45 minute, or 60 minute, and I got a 4 hour. I got quite a few of them in here. Just threw a bunch of them in here. All right, but definitely a 4 hour. That's the biggest one, and then I got an hourly. I believe I don't feel like looking at each one of them, but there's quite a few of them here. And so if you want to try to put the fractal side on your trading, because the patterns that I'm showing you, if you learn majority, okay, that's majority. If you learn this, you can get a jump start on that direction. You can get a jump start on it with just larger wick, smaller wick. So you're trading the fractal part of the market if you can begin to get this to work. All right, if you can get these two to come on board, and then once you get this, you definitely got it. I mentioned in yesterday's video that the market be overlapping. All right, and oftentimes when it overlaps, it's going to give you like a 4 bar effect when it does it. All right, so just kind of be careful. Watch yourself when it does that. They did it here on the hourly. Okay, so you had this inside bar effect starting with this bar. There's that inside bar, and then it lasted for 4 or more bars. All right, and I said that in yesterday's video, and I'll say it again today. Just be careful. Okay, the moment that you see that inside bar, just know that you can potentially be in for it for at least 4 bars. I want to make sure that you get that. Let me blow this up on the hourly. We're going to take a look at this information, but I got an indicator for it, but I didn't add it to the chart. I want to give you guys a chance to look at the market in a very objective way. Uh, so yes, so you had 4 in here. I'm trying to find this overlap because overlap is the worst. All right, it's the worst. Now there's a way that you go about trading this. I just can't tell you guys here, but this could help with your timing, and that's why I'm really wanting to express this stuff to you. Like, I don't want you to struggle with trading. I want to make sure that it's easy for you. All right, just want to make sure it's easy. So there's an example on the hourly as well as the 1 minute. It happens in all time frames. You had it here. Okay, so all the bodies is all about the bodies. All right, so it's all about the bodies. Let me get my little draw tool here. It's all about the bodies. All right, it's all about the bodies. You had it there, you had it here, and this is you're probably going to get it here. This is your 1 minute candle giving you that up and down action, the thing that you really don't like. You enter the trade, you want it to just go in and run, and it just appears as if it don't want to go. I want to have you know you're probably getting some of this. All right, so we're at the center of the scale. All right, center of the scale, the scalper. If you want to scalp, they shouldn't come back past this bottom unless they're going to do this. Okay, unless they're going to do this, not expecting them to come back through here. All right, unless they plan on doing that. That would just be bad. Now, can they reach down further? Yes, they absolutely can. I don't have the threshold on this bar here. I don't. But if they come back past that bottom, yes, they may dive down into this threshold. We're going to go give a take here. We're going to go give a take. Here's the threshold right into that stop bar. This is the stop bar. Now, there isn't a trend up yet. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it is. There's a trend down. They're just pulling into the center of it. But if we're looking for this market to stay up, we don't want them back below this low. Let's just try to keep them above this low. Can they come back down here? Yes, but we just don't want that. So let's see if this 5 second chart can begin to turn back around. They're coming under the center of the chart. You want to keep them above the center of the chart. Once they come under the center of the chart, it's just not fun. All right, it's just not fun. It's not something you will want to deal with. I don't like this bottom. I really don't, but it's happening. All right, so let's see what they're going to do here. They're coming beneath the center of the chart. Again, here's that 4. They got that 4 stuck in here. Okay, I should have just put the indicator up here. It'll point it out for you. It's called the manipulation indicator. If it's in your price action, I mean in your indicator suite, it's under the manipulation indicators. All right, so but they're coming down, and again, this is majority. This is what we're looking for, and I'm gonna tell you about those lines on the hourly in just a moment. But this is what we're finding now. They're coloring the bars based on this. All right, so if the mid gets outside the high or the low, the bars are being colored. All right, now here I got your time and sales, so you can kind of see that going off, seeing how I guess the market is trading. You can just see how it's trading as it hits these levels or these prices. Again, here's your volume. You got the pressures. Let me tell you what you got here. You got the aggression pressures as well as the aggression arrows. Okay. You got the aggression arrows, aggression pressure, and then you have the aggression price line floater, which is that little arrow that's attached to it. I told you I didn't like this bottom, so that kind of makes sense. All right, so you got all of that going, and then the pivot, the price pivot strike, that's happening here. All right, now you can make this as big as you want. You can cover the whole background if you would like. I got it running on each one of these time frames. And it's again just trying to give you what's happening with that bar, just how it's trading. That's all. And then of course I got you that volume there, and of course in the center it's going to go off should the majority show up. So if we get there, it goes that sell pressure. The bar should turn red. This bar should, there we go. It turned red. It's coming on again, so it should turn red again. What you're doing with remember the break. Remember the break. I talked to you guys yesterday about that break. It's again indicative of this. Whenever they break those pivots, just don't be so eager to jump in it. But oftentimes what ends up happening, they're going to offer you the distance, the scalper. I'm talking to the scalper. So if you just want a quick trade, they should give you the distance of the pattern. Now, remember, I just told you about that flip where they give you the red bar, but then it expands to the opposite side. You can pretty much get a quick trade in that direction, despite which side of the market they're trading to. All right, so I know they're trading down because they're beneath the center of the scale as well as the lower portion of the scale as well. Here's that same scenario. So they shouldn't come back up this green bar here if they're going to bust that bottom. Again, this is majority. Now, the minority is compelled to follow. Okay, it's compelled to follow. And so I tend to like it a little bit, not so much a great deal more than the majority on every other bar. It's just oftentimes you got them trapped on the wrong side. So if you see the green and they immediately turn around and run past it, or you see the red and they immediately turns around and run past it, it's just fun. It's just fun. All right, so they're getting ready to come back to this bottom. All right, don't want them to do that, but they're doing it. All right, so this is not good. This is not good what they're doing. So this may last a little bit longer than what I would want them to do. All right, so they're going to come back through here. That's not fun. That's not fun. They bust this bottom. That's not going to be fun, and they definitely may move down into that threshold. Again, on yesterday's video, they were up here on this bar here, and they had just went outside of that information there. All right, I don't suspect that they're going to close outside of here. It's 146. All right, so it's 146. So I don't expect that they would do that. Let me see, can I grab that clock for us so you can see what time it is as well. All right, so it's 146. I'm gonna just kind of move this out the way. It's 146. All right. So this is what you will want to do, the scalper. I would really want you to pay attention to your chart scale because unless you're programming the information here, which I haven't went that far with this stuff when it comes to I trade 1 minute, look at my hourly for my anchor chart. But if you're someone that wants to program this information, I don't know how skilled you are at programming indicators, but you would definitely want to utilize your chart scale. All right, because every pivot is going to happen on your hard right edge. So you don't have to look left. You don't have to look left. You can look right here on this hard right edge, and I can pretty much guarantee you to a degree that there's an opportunity either here or here. And again, this is a general vicinity. I can't tell you they're going to hit this line exactly and just turn around. No, it's just in a general vicinity. You don't want them to go but so far. Okay. We don't really want them, as you saw them when they came down here, when they got beneath the center of the chart, they kind of glided down some more. You don't want that. So even if they were to come up just a bit, just stay beneath the center of that chart. I don't know if you'll be able to code something like that. Here's that scenario. They're trying to flip it. Okay, I like when they trap them on the opposite side of it. It's just fun. That's all. And see here they had did it. And again, sometimes this can happen at a turn. So you'll see this happen and they'll be actually exiting. All right, so it's a little tricky. They pull right back into that scenario here, and of course they're leaning back over. All right, so they're getting ready to go through here. I thought that they would reach up a little bit higher, but they're trying to go through here. All right, so this is what you're dealing with if you have the indicator suite. I suggest that you use your aggression. You can use your aggression tools. You can use it on any time frame. I got actually your bar entry pressure on here. Now, the bar entry, and I'll tell you some of what makes this flash, the bar entry pressure. I went over this before, but I'll tell it to you again here. The thing that makes that flash, all right, try to give you some information, then we'll talk about those levels. The things that make that flash is this. So you get a candle, right? Okay. And it closed to the upside. Okay, that's fine. The next candle that comes, if it can trade outside of the prior candle's close, right? If it can get outside that close, and then yes, that pressure can come on. But it's some other additional information that's being calculated in that. But that's the foundation of that pressure. That's the found. I did think that they would reach up a bit higher. Again, we don't want them to take out this bottom. We just don't. But yes, when it get outside the close, that's the bar entry pressure. Here's that scenario where they're trying to trap the seller on the wrong side of it. We got to see how this work. I don't want them to blow that bottom. That would just be horrible. I'm gonna be honest. That would be bad. It's not to say they can't do it, but that would just be absolutely horrible if they did something like that. All right, so they're at the center of the chart. Are they going to bring it back down through this bottom? We'll have to see. All right, so now that's the pressure. That's the pressure. The aggression. I can't go into that, or the price pivot stripe. I can't go into that. But the foundation of that should be useful for you. So if you're trading, the next bar that's going to form, if you're going to be closing higher or you're going to be closing lower, and we talked about this on yesterday, that when the bar goes outside of the bar's high, if you're going up, or outside of the bar's low, if you're going down, the probability of it sustaining itself begins to drop. Right. So I don't want you to take the trade on the break of a high, of the bar, or break of the low of the bar, and just expect, it to just go without, taking you out. Eh, That's why I'm giving you the universal threshold, because sometimes it will reach outside of the bar's high or outside of the bar's low, and then vacuum back into the bar. Yeah, I told you I don't think they're supposed to break that bottom. I told you that before they even got down there, that would be bad. It's some information that I'm aware of. They don't supposed to do that. Now, I'm glad they were able to turn that back around. Um, I told you I didn't think that they would close outside of that threshold on that hourly. I mean, this information here on the hourly, that they shouldn't really want to get down there, because had they did that, that would have been a problem. And so it's 150. Okay, so it's 150. I did tell you that you don't want them to break that bottom. That would just be bad. And that come how they came down was really intimidating, I'm sure, to a lot of people. But there's a signature that professional activity does when it turns markets. All right, and I'm aware of this, and there's people that I've taught this to. There's a signature to the movement. All right, this is not random. All right, so I'm trying to give you the foundational pieces that you would need in order to succeed at this. Now, what you want to do when it comes to the close, if the close is right at the high, I know that's a bit difficult because the pressure would kick on and say, "Hey, we're doing this," But if the close is really near the high, when they go outside of that high, probability drops off. Now, here's the interesting thing: in scenarios where the majority kicks in with that, because I know this close was pretty much the high. Okay, you don't have a difference there. They're pretty much one and the same here. So when the majority kicks in, yeah, that's really great, because most of the time, whenever you get breaks of highs or lows, you get this vacuum effect where it comes back, and that's where I want you to be aware of the threshold. Now, let's watch the chart scale for just a couple more minutes. The scalper. I want you to see the indications that I have for you as well. Also, the most important thing I want to tell you is use your chart scale, because you're having to act fairly quickly unless you can code this information. You're having to act very fast, okay? And so you may not have the time to keep up with the bar patterns. You can go down to a 1 second, 2 second, 5 second. I would say it's pretty okay if you're trying to get 10 ticks, 20 ticks. It's pretty okay to keep up with. But if you're trying to constantly, rapidly place trades like they do, okay? I know there's people that say, "Hey, don't do a lot of trades," and there's people that encourages it. I'm indifferent about either. I would just tell you, you would need probability. That's all. You just need high probability trades if you're going to trade frequency. All right. Because that's how they profit by, you know, massive amounts of trades. All right. So, because they're able to put them in so quickly. All right. So, frequency isn't bad. You just need probability to be on your side. And so, I want you to really just take a moment, use your chart scale. Really go in there and use that chart scale to get your scalp trades to work. You may want to, you know, of course, get a second monitor if you don't already have one, or somehow position your 1 minute chart or whatever time frame you're using in conjunction. Because if you're scalping, you may not want to anchor chart as large as an hourly. You may want to use something like a 1 minute, something smaller to accommodate the entry and the exit, because you're getting in and you're getting out pretty fast. All right. But please, whatever you do, do not underestimate your chart scale. If they're above the center of your chart, as you saw with the decline, they'll work that direction until it's time to turn around. All right. So now when we look at the let me do this here. See, okay, see, they're flipping that red. And this is primarily one of those things to really look for on this 5 second, because it's always turning. It's always turning. All right. So it's giving you a lot of up and down fluctuations. You can come into this 5 second and say, hey, if I see this, I know they did try to get them here in the wrong spot. Okay. They're above the center of the chart because it happened here and then they immediately turned it around. Okay. So yes, that's the thing I want you to pay attention to. And again, I have tools for you, the scalper. If you someone that want to scalp, I have some tools for you to make the job a little easier. I know you've been looking at it now. Let's again, nasty business. I told you guys, when it comes to these pivots, when they go outside of these pivots, just be careful. Just be careful. Just be just a little bit cautious, if you will. Now, it'll be great, yeah, that they close outside of this threshold. That'll just be fantastic. All right. So now, when it comes to these levels, let me tell you what's going on with that. Let me tell you what's going on with that. That could help you a little bit. All right. So let me just kind of pull this out of frame, and I'm gonna tell you what's going on here. All right, so now this is a part of your indicator suite. All right, so I'm gonna just tell you one of them. I can't tell you both. All right, okay, let me give you this one. Let me give you this one. The 15, it's $1,500. All right, so that's what this is. All right, so it's $1,500 risk. Okay, it's a $1,500 risk parameter there. All right, so I know that the average bar size is not that big. Okay, it's not that big. It's not to say that they can't become that. You know, they can become larger than this. They can. But this is giving me pretty much what the bar will look like when it finishes. That's all. It's giving me that. So I would encourage you. You can use the bar risk indicator. Let me show you that. Let me show you that if you have the indicator suite. I'm gonna show it to you so you'll know what it looks like. Because I don't have the name on the chart here, but I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you that. Let me show it to you. It's the bar projected risk target plus target. All right, I'm gonna just tell you the name of it. All right, so you can go with that. You can go with that indicator and type in the $1,500 max risk. You can type that in on your hourly chart. You can type that in there and project the lines as far as you would need, and it'll give you an idea. All right, and you can figure out, if you guys want to, you can figure out what the other what this is. All right, this right here, this is important too, but about 1,500 bucks. You know, you just look at the bars, about 1,500. You know, in tick size, we're talking tick size. Now, there's a way that I'm using this, not just for the bar itself. There's another way that I'm using that information. I do want to put that disclaimer there for you to know. All right, so as long as they can stay above the center of the chart, please scalper. Again, this is all about, you know, speed. If you want to see speed, I got some speed stuff for you. Again, I did a video about this some time ago, and everyone liked it. I've been combing through some of the videos back here. I've been trying to add some hashtags to the videos because I don't advertise. I'm not buying any likes, views, or subscribers. All right, I'm not doing any of that. All right, and again, just trying to saturate YouTube with some useful information that can actually help the trader. All right, just help the trader. And if you like what you're seeing, If it's impacting your trading in a positive way, please share this information with someone. Just hit the like button, leave a comment. If you would like to go further than that, then again, I did add an additional function there for you. You don't have to go this route, but some of you may want to do that, and so I made that available as well. All right, so trying to give you guys some useful information that can help you in your trading. All right, so they didn't break that bottom, and there's that scenario uh, down here on this bottom. I told you if they break that bottom, it would have just been bad. Okay, there's that scenario there. We like that. All right, we like that. I'm sure you're gonna you're gonna start liking this one too. It's pretty easy. It's simple. And again, sometimes it come into places where they're flipping it. All right, so just be careful with that. I don't want you to get caught off guard by it, but it's a easier trade if you ask me. Sometimes, just sometimes, depends on where it's happening at. All right. So I wish you guys a happy weekend. I want you to enjoy yourselves. Be certain to again take your time with trading. Don't rush this. But again, if you're a scalper, use your chart scale. Don't underestimate that chart scale. Whatever you do is a very powerful tool. It's simple. They gave it to you. I believe in using the stuff that they gave you effectively in a way that no one else is going to pay attention to it. I want you to start doing that though. Pay attention to that chart scale. It's really important. If you're looking for the levels going into next week, all right, so this is the information I want you to take with you going into next week. For those that's viewing this video here, the scalper, pay attention to these this bezel. Please pay attention to that. We want to see if the daily can close above that 978. 978 by the end of the day. Right now it's just 2 o'clock, so they got a little bit of time on their hands. They got a little time on their hands. But that 24,978, they're getting close. See if they can get that done. That would be fantastic. Now going into tomorrow, so well over the weekend, Sunday when they come back up, these levels are fluid. They're fluid, all right. They're fluid, but they will generally be within the same vicinity. I'm sure within the next 3 hours they should be in the same vicinity. So if that be the case, all right, if that be the case, we're going to be using the information from today. Now, this is today's activity. All right, today, pivot range high, pivot range low. We're going to be looking at these levels going into the next trading day. All right, so if you want to know your daily bias, whatever that is, try to keep up with this. And this is your threshold, your universal threshold. You want to keep them bullish. This is from yesterday activity. This is from yesterday's activity. You want to see if they'll close above that 978. That'll just be fantastic. All right. So that's my time with you. Again, I hope that you found this information useful. I kind of gave you a little fractal way of looking at the market. Definitely wanted to, again, appeal to the scalper, the person that's trying to read the market really, really fast. It's an easier way to do it. It's an easier way to do it if you use your chart scale. And that way you're not leaning into every bar. But if you're trying to do a very tight stop, um, if you're trying to do a tight stop, you may want to pay attention to these. Okay, flipping the red, flipping the green. You want to pay attention to that if you're doing that. If you're looking for that type of experience, you may want to pay attention to that in conjunction with the scale. All right. So I wish you all the best with your trading. I'll come back sometime next week, probably Thursday, Friday, somewhere in there. Okay, unless there's something important going on the chart. I'll come back sometime next week. I absolutely wish you guys the best with your trading. Please take your time with this information. If you're new, do not try to run out here and do too much. All right. Wish you all the best with your trading. Take care.